Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode on the Technical Beast server. It is FTB time, and today what are we going to be doing? Well, actually I've kind of hit a point where I'm not sure what it is I want to do next. I'm obviously the noob on the server. Look at what all the other guys have achieved, and yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm plodding around doing different little things. For example, the industrial TNT machine, that was a really good project, but now that that's over, I'm not sure what it is I want to do next. So I have been doing my building. We're going to go check that out now actually, because that's something I've been doing in the meantime, but this has been very slow to do. I really did not expect building to go so slow. I've put quite a few hours into doing this, and maybe it's because the scale is very large, but also the decision making is quite difficult for me, but I have made some progress. So you can see here the whole blue strips of blue sapphire thing that I've gone for. It looks really good, but I don't know, what else am I going to put in this room? I'm not really sure, because I'm not sure 100% what its purpose is yet. I know it's going to have like teleporting and things like that. Is there there's a zombie up there. So yeah. So I don't know what it's going to be used for yet, which kind of makes it difficult to plan things. But one thing I've done over here is I've made this little drop down pad, because in FTB you don't really need stairs and stuff like that. Everyone's got a jetpack, so I figured you could drop down, and then to get back up you can just fly back up, which is fairly straightforward and simple. So up here this room actually has some light in it, not a lot, but if I just break away a block up here, and that was the wrong one, or was it? I think it was actually the right one. Yeah, there you go. Up there is a wraith lamp, and that is lighting up this room here. Now the light can actually pass through a cover like this, and what I've just discovered is that when it passes through that, it's going to lower the light level. So in a second now, there you go, it updates and it's lowered, but that provides light for this area. Maybe I'll put in some other lights as well. And yeah, so I've kind of reached this standstill point with this project. I think when it comes to building, for me, everything isn't quite so visionary. Like, I don't see the end result and then just start building. I have to constantly stop and think and progress things and make sure everything looks good. So it's very slow for me to do, and I think this is just something I'm going to continue doing in between episodes and give you little progress reports and things like that. But I am very pleased with what we've done so far. This looks good, and I'm taking my time. I'm being, cautionary about this, and I think that will pay off in the long run. So let's go back into this area. There is a bit of a mess going on here. As you can see, there's a portal up there, which is very strange. Lots of fabricators around the place, and this was actually a lot messier a while ago, but King Happy has cleared some of it up. Well, what King has been doing is setting up a new processing area. That is what this place was, but it wasn't really powerful enough to be like the final product. So he's working on what I think will be our master sort of processing and sorting system, because this one has been brought to its knees a couple of times with all the quarrying that I've been doing, and that is something that I haven't done for a few days. It does get kind of boring just flying around placing quarries down all the time. So yeah, that's why this place is really messy. One of the things that we played around with is coloured water. You can see right there that water is very blue. I think that is the lapis colour, and this thing right here is some sort of special tank to hold it in. Now what I wanted to do was pump this coloured liquid through pipes and use that as a decorational feature. And I can't remember, I think it was the magma crucible. Yep, that's this block right here. We were using this and testing it out with pipes to see what materials could go through it with different colours, but it seems like any coloured dye that you use to turn into liquid will just go through a pipe grey until it's put into a tank, and then it will pick up its colour. So unfortunately we can't use that. But anyway, let's go and have a look at King's new area. If we go through this portal here, there isn't actually much to show. He's got a lot of materials here, you can see, all saved up ready for building. Like, there's an absolute ton of stuff here. I'll just go past it quickly. You can see he's been very busy crafting all of this stuff and getting it ready. And then in here I do believe there is some sort of fusion reactor or something in the middle that is going to power everything. You guys know I don't know what all of this stuff is, but maybe you do. I see some ultimate hybrid, no, just ultimate solar panels there as well, so there must be, yeah, some lights up the top. So this place is really cool. I showed you it in the last episode. On the outside there's a lovely autumn biome, and then this is under a big hill with like a jungle biome on the top of it, so it's very interesting. It would be cool to see what he does here. Probably going to take him a lot of time though, because of the sheer scale of the project that he's doing. So I have been, wondering what it is I can do this episode, because I really don't know. I don't want to do building because the progress with that is very slow. I just find a few hours here and there to go in and build, and I don't really make much progress as it is. So what I did is I looked up the Industrial Craft Wiki, and I found some cool things that I didn't know about that I thought maybe you guys may or may not know about, but I want to investigate them and see what they can do. So I'm going to take the time now to gather myself some materials and show you these things that I'm interested in. Okay, so I was browsing through the Industrial Craft Wiki looking for some things that caught my attention, and one of them was construction foam. Now this is a block that you can place down and it will harden over time, so you can break it really easily like that, just clicking. I'm not even using the badge on it, and it will harden over time. So supposedly when it's exposed to light, there's a chance every 25 seconds that it will harden slightly or something like that, which didn't fully understand, but these things you have to experiment to learn with. Anyway, if you right click on this block with sand, then it turns into this interesting looking block, and then supposedly we can paint this block, and that's why I was interested in it, because it could possibly provide us with some more building materials. So they have this other thing called the painter, which you can make with 3 wool and 2 iron, and it creates this little thing which you can combine with a dye. And then I think each one of these has 32 uses. So supposedly we can paint this block, and that is very cool. That is quite bright, and as a texture it does look like it's a texture that's had orange thrown over the top of it. But that is cool. That is another building material right there. I think what I'd like to do is make some more of these painters and just see what it looks like with the different colours. Okay, I've gathered some more dyes, and this is the recipe for the painter in case you're wondering. And then you can use that in one of these grids to add some dye to it. There's also this other dye here called indigo, which I got from the flower machine over there. I grabbed all the different flower types. I'm not sure if that's a new colour or not, or they've renamed something. I'm fairly sure there isn't an indigo in vanilla Minecraft, so let's see what that looks like. That is pretty nice as well. In fact, that's a lot nicer. It's nice and light. Let's try out indigo next. And this is going to be a pain, this is, doing them all one by one. Okay, there we go. Like that. And that is basically just blue, isn't it? Although we do have lapis, so... I assumed that lapis was still a dye. You can use it in... Oh, so indigo counts as being lapis, except it's got a -1 on the end of the damage value there. Let's see if there is actually any difference. The texture looks slightly lighter here. I don't really see any difference at all there. But that's good to know actually, because there's a dye called indigo, and I've been using lapis as a dye, so we can save our lapis for other things. It's used quite a lot in the crafting recipes. Anyway, I'm going to do the rest of these colours and we'll see what they look like. Okay, let's take a look. I haven't done all the colours in the rainbow here, or the Minecraft rainbow, but here's something interesting. You can't use grey on this block. Where is my grey? I wanted to do an experiment. There it is. So I'm going to assume maybe that's going to be the same colour, but you can use the dark grey, you get this, and then the black, or the ink sacs, you get that, and then with bone meal you get this. And also the painter by itself, it's not white, it doesn't have anything at all, so you have to put bone meal on it to get this block. However, this one will be a nice addition to what I've been building with the basalt. I think the texture is slightly different, we should actually compare that. But the light grey, this one right here, didn't work on a default block, so I wanted to try it on one of these. Light grey. Okay, it worked on that one, it didn't work on the end one. What is the end one? That's slightly lighter than that. Very strange. I'm not sure there, maybe I've just made a mistake. Okay, so that is the same colour as the default thing, that's interesting. And there was something else that I was about to do. Oh yeah, compare it to basalt. Right, I have my builder's bag on me. My inventory is now very full. Let's just take one of those, chuck that on the ground for now, and let's compare those two. Yeah, I think they're going to go nice alongside each other. So that's cool, we've got some extra building materials out of that, and now the next thing that I want to look at is dynamite. Okay, so the dynamite, how do we craft it? Well, it's ITNT and string like that will give you 8, and you can have them in stacks of 16, which is something I literally just learned. So supposedly you can throw these, and they're like I and T and T. So let's just throw one of those down there. I do believe that is not the way you throw it. Perhaps you have to right click. There you go, that one was charged. And that is a very small explosion. There might be some use for this, you know, having a little small explosion like that. That is really cool. They're like grenades, you know. PvP has needed that for a long time, I felt, something like a grenade. And here it is right now, the stick of dynamite. Very cool. And because it's ITNT, I do believe we can throw another one there and it won't destroy those drops. Let's see. Nope, it doesn't. Okay, cool. And then I think our last little test, we should just throw loads of them like that. Let's spam that place there full of dynamite. Wow. That was really cool. And do you know what we should also test to see? I think I just threw one on the ground here, didn't I? To see how it damages me. Not a lot by the looks of it. We could have some real fun with this, you know. That was cool. I think I might make some more of this stuff. But before I do that, I want to show you... Where is it? Over here. We can have sticky dynamite as well. Now this looks really cool. Let's grab a couple of those. So these are like the last ones, except apparently they will stick to a wall. So I want to mine that stuff, and although I can't see it, wow, that seemed to go off faster as well. Interesting. So I want to mine that stuff. There we go, we can see it that time, and that definitely goes off quicker, doesn't it? So you could go mining with this stuff. You could go around some caves, just, oh yeah, I want some of that, I want some of those. There we go, give me them. Just take them all. That is really cool. So anyway, I have an idea how we can have a little more fun with this, and it's going to take me a moment to set up, so I will be back in no time at all. So it occurred to me almost as soon as I put this dispenser down that this is a 1.4.7 dispenser, so it's quite likely just going to chuck the item out, and no, that looks charged. Very cool. Okay, so we can actually go ahead with this. I thought that wasn't going to be possible. And yes, there is a red power block that acts as a clock. I just couldn't find it in the crafting menu to find out what exactly it was I was looking for. This is seriously cool. Oh, we got a big caved out area on that side. Yeah, enough silliness with this. I reckon we could make something though at some point that could drop a lot of dynamite into a small hole, and maybe create like a blast that goes all the way down to bedrock, and then you could go down with it and pick up all the valuable items that you wanted. But yeah, enough playing around with that for now. I think I need to take a break and figure out what it is I want to do this episode, although I did have an idea. It's something that I thought about a long time ago. Like we have a storage area up there for crafting and all those sorts of things, I thought it would be cool to have a crafting area for building. So you have all the different types of building blocks that you would want to use, all the micro blocks, all things like that, sort of stored in barrels and chests as well, in its own little storage system like that. And it just kind of occurred to me that this whole colouring might be used for other things as well. So I've seen that there's buckets of paints and paint brushes. There's the painters that we have here, and so maybe having all of the different dyes available would be a useful thing to have. So I'm going to speak to the other guys and see if that's a good idea for a project there, because then maybe I could do a little setup that has a flower farm and it takes other materials as well, like, let me think, ink sacs and lapis and stuff, and then it sets you up with all of the different colours that you need for building. So a lot of time has elapsed since I last recorded. I don't think I had this portal gun last time. I found this. I've been going into the yeah, I've been going into the Twilight Forest, and I found one of these in a chest. Also been doing some quarrying over there as well, and I've just been doing a lot of other stuff in between. I've been trying to find a project that's going to be long term, you know. I saw what I could do here. I could get all of the different materials that you need for dyes and create a little setup somewhere where if you need those, there's always a plentiful supply. And I was thinking that we could take materials from our master inn. So down here, whenever bone meal comes through or lapis, it takes it and puts it into our system. And then I thought that we don't want to take all of it, so that would be a little bit of a challenge to make a system where perhaps it takes a certain amount and then puts them back into the system, but I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do that. So that's the challenge that I'm hoping to do this episode. But during that time I investigated a lot of different ways of making power, and unfortunately for me, I suck basically. When it comes to learning, I need to really be able to grasp the basics, and then I can sort of take it from there. But I'm having a lot of trouble grasping the basics for making, I don't know, even biomass systems. Just been trying to understand what it is I can do. Now, I was also given a suggestion to go with a diesel generator, and yeah, chemical reactors. There's some other things here that I've been playing around with to make nitro diesel engines, and make power based off of that. And it turns out that's an incredibly complex and difficult system, and so for a beginner like me it's a bad choice. But I think what I want to do is really figure out how these biomass systems work, and maybe make one of my own farms based around that, or a steam engine. And yeah, a lot of time has elapsed since I last recorded. I think it's been like 3 or 4 days even, and I've just spent a lot of time researching, getting very frustrated because when I can't pick up the basics and start learning and start progressing, I get quite wound up by that, you know. So it's been very difficult for me, and I really wanted to just scrap everything I'd recorded so far and perhaps just move on to a new project. But I don't know, it seems like I'm still some time away from doing something like that, because I really like Raven's biomass farm. If we go have a look at this over here, the design is somewhat modular. I do not understand all the... oh, there's some new stuff over there that I probably shouldn't be showing. I don't really understand the full extent of what's going on, but I do understand that things are modular. For example, all of this here. Now, if this was my biomass farm, I'd be interested in continuously expanding this and producing more and more. So you can expand this part of it, and if we go... oh, how do we get down? I've forgotten already. It's this bit over here. Yeah, so if we go down the bottom here, I can also see that this part of his farm, I think we need to go up a tad. Yeah, this bit over here is also modular, so you could expand it and produce more biomass overall. And that's kind of what I'd be interested in doing at the moment, having a big system that I can expand and maintain. And it also creates a lot of little rooms that you can decorate, which is something that I really like doing, you know, having areas like this that I can then go, okay, this serves a purpose, now I need to decorate it. The problem is I just can't get on with FTB that well, so that's kind of like my plans, is to try and get into one of these different forms of energy. Maybe steam engines or energy would be one to have a look at. So for the rest of this episode, what we're going to do is just build that little thing that I talked about. It's going to be quite a simple project. We're going to be taking things from this setup here. So this has some of our dyes. This is going to be very simple. We'll just put all of this, or actually what we'll do is we'll leave the seeds in the barrels, and then everything else will go into a tesseract, which goes to a little workstation, which we'll actually put over here, and then I'll use my portal gun to set up a link between it and the area up there. And this will house all the different dyes, so whenever you're building you can come down here and just pick out the dyes that you want. And also there are some new blocks in this mod, Zycraft, and these ones actually use dyes. I think it's these ones down here. That one looks like it's possibly going to use indigo dye. And how did we make indigo dye? We made it earlier. I guess that doesn't really matter, that was a bad example. So lime green, I don't know what a lime drop is, but we can use lime dye. And so with these blocks, yeah, basically what I'm saying is I found some other blocks that make use of dye. There's also paint buckets and things like that, but I got distracted with working on the energy thing. So we're going to build a little hut down here and set up a system for it. So this has been one strange episode of FTB for me. It just feels like everything's been sluggish and slow, and this project was supposed to be super simple. I was thinking that you guys wouldn't like it, it would be so easy. Turns out it's actually really difficult, because there's just so much more to it than you think, and often is the same with any project in Minecraft. You approach it, you think, oh yeah, that's going to be easy because I can do this and that, and then more problems arise as you try and set it up. So that's exactly what's happened here. Also, Nathaniel is over there working on his bees. He was in TeamSpeak with me for quite some time. We were just having a chat, trying to get this thing to work, and we found out that it is, yeah, a lot more complicated than I thought. So I guess I thought I'd just be sending in raw materials and the machine would turn them into dyes. That's kind of what the deal is, except it's a little more complicated than you'd expect. But let's start off with the setup that I've gone for. You can see we've got some buffers here, these are actually just being used for their inventory space. I didn't want to fill up a whole barrel full of items because I kind of felt like what we would end up doing with this setup is filling one barrel up, and then when that one is full, the items won't go through the filter, so they'll move around to the next die that needs that material, and then that one will get crafted. So we chose the buffer for its smaller inventory space. So the filter here will send cocoa beans. That just needs to go straight through because that's a die. We don't have a farm for cocoa beans yet, so this prompts me to make some more farms as well, which is cool. And we have a rose there, and then we have this one which makes the orange dye, and the yellow. So everything seems fairly simple straight away, and it is. We have the filter to put them into the fabricator, and then that puts them into the buffer. And so when the buffer is full and the fabricator is as well, this is no longer going to pull in yellow flowers. So over on this side, this is where things get a little bit tricky because we have cactus green, which is made from cactus. So when we send items into this system, we need to turn the cactus into cactus green, but also we need to send in raw cactus to make cactus green. And now I've just realised that's really silly, because if we're going to make cactus green, then we can send that straight in there. So there's a little bit of a solution already. Or maybe that was for something else. I'm not sure what's going on here. I think we're missing a dye. I did have a table of all the different colours that we need. So if that one is cactus green and bone meal, I think this one here is cactus green and indigo that goes in there. So anyway, we solved one problem there just talking about it. If we come around here, you'll see we have the indigo flower. That makes indigo dye. Then we have the purple flower, and then where we have the rubber, this is to stop any random items going into it. This is where we have to craft two dyes together that are already being made into dyes elsewhere, like here for example. So that's when things get a little bit tricky. And then round this side, actually things are quite simple because we have the ink sac and bone meal. We're just going to send bone meal straight into the system, not bones, and so all of that is pretty straightforward. So we're sending it all in for a tesseract, which is called paint room at the moment. We also have a chest here to test this machine out and send in some items. So let's see what happens. It's probably going to be a little bit of a disaster, and it's also going to be quite slow as well, I've just realised. But we can see those items are going to be heading around to wherever it is they go to. I think those ones go all the way over here. This is really slow. Should have thought about that. These are supposed to be 6 times faster than the redstone engine, but that doesn't seem to be that much faster. Maybe it's just warming up. So we can see it's going through into this one here. And what on earth is going on there? I'll tell you what, the recipe hasn't even been set up. I'm so unprepared. There we go. Okay, now it's making the purple dye. We'll take those out. And yeah, you can kind of see how it goes there. So yeah, it's going to take me some time. I've got to build other farms to supplement this thing, but I'll show you what I've done over here as well. If we turn on this machine, we have a load of bone meal down here. Now, one of the changes that I've made is this is our bone meal in. It goes through the auto crafting table into bone meal, and now we have it going into this deployer, but also into this relay, which goes back over to our paint room. So whenever we take bones from up there, we're going to put them into this one. It's going to divide them up between the flower farm and the paint room. So that's like an even split there. Okay, so all of our flowers are getting diverted by this filter here. So we should fly over and have a look at this system. And you can see it's doing okay. I am worried that at some point I'm going to overlook something. Some items are going to come in that aren't needed. And another thing is, when all of this fills up and it backs up, when our fabricators are full and our buffers are full as well, you can see I put some rubber in there while I was testing, so it would only fill up the ones at the top. Then what happens? I think the filter backs up, and let's say that we have all the red dye that we need and flowers keep coming through, then it's going to block up the whole system. So another thing to think about there. What on earth is going on here? We have red dye in there. Oh god, that's connected there now. This is a nightmare. Okay, well, it's a little oversight there really is what's going on. I'm not sure why the brown, the cocoa beans even, is not going through there. Let's just have a quick look. So, why did it spit them out? Because it would take them out in the end here, and the only way they could go through the iron pipes was into this part of the buffer. And by the way, the buffer is a very interesting block. You can see it has 5 different inventory slots, Well, that's actually for 5 of its 6 different sides, so I think the top one counts as in only. But it allows you to pull out items or put them in based on what side of the block your pipe points into, which is really interesting, and that will definitely be useful at some point. So we've got a little bit of a mystery with the cocoa beans here to solve, and just so much more to do. I need to take the time to think really and sort of brainstorm all of this and get it working. But we did solve the problem with this. We'll just have our cactuses turn into cactus dye beforehand, and then rather than have a fabricator here, we'll just bypass all of that and go straight into the buffer. But that is it for another episode of Technical Beast. I do apologise again for the derpy episode, it happens from time to time. If you have any suggestions for a power system you think I should look into, and then please do suggest them in the comment box below. Bear in mind that I can't do the complex stuff, I'm not too good at all this FTB, I'm still very new to it. So yeah, anyway, thanks again for watching, and I will catch you next time.